The real Jeet Kune Do. Hi guys, so today's video is going to be a bit longer than usual because I'm going to explain what real Jeet Kune Do is and what it contains and especially what it is not, and how you can actually recognize real Jeet Kune Do from some other stuff maybe people call Jeet Kune Do, but it isn't really. And therefore we have to explain first what is Jeet Kune Do and what is real Jeet Kune Do. Well, we define the real Jeet Kune Do, especially the late stage of Jeet Kune Do, how Bruce taught and how he trained and in which direction he developed actually his martial art. So what is Jeet Kune Do not? Well, Jeet Kune Do is not training different martial arts. One day train one martial art, or in one training you train 5 different martial arts, like Muay Thai, maybe Kali, Silat, Filipino martial arts, Wing Chun, and then boxing, and then grappling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then you train all this different stuff, and then somehow in sparring or fighting, you're trying to use those techniques from those martial arts in your application. And then this is basically Jeet Kune Do because it's your Jeet Kune Do. You just pick up the techniques you like or you can use from these martial arts. And it's very important to say that's not how Bruce trained, and that's not how Bruce taught, and that's not how he developed Jeet Kune Do. And actually there are some students of Bruce at the time when he was still alive. They were doing kind of mixing Jeet Kune Do with other martial arts. And he basically told them to stop doing this because it doesn't fit together. Jeet Kune Do is a very special martial art in regards how you apply this. There's no much sense to mix different martial arts in it. Okay, and when Jeet Kune Do is not a mix of different martial art techniques from different martial arts or just pure martial art training of different martial art, what does Jeet Kune Do contain? Jeet Kune Do contains its own techniques, its own kicks, its own footwork. It basically contains its own punches, own finger jabs, own kicks. Although all this originated from where, but it's not just, mostly it's not just taken from one martial art and then implemented into training. Most of the punching techniques are heavily influenced by boxing and also close quarters footwork. And mid-range and long-range footwork is influenced by fencing. Also, maybe some people don't know, maybe some people know, boxing itself originated actually from fencing, and where the circle is closing. And JKD is heavily based on these two martial arts, especially when it comes to tactics and principles. Of course, in Jeet Kune Do you can also use sweeps, or you can throw an opponent if it suits the situation. And then there's also attacking and defending 360. So when there are multiple opponents, you don't have to be able only to fight one opponent who is in front of you. Maybe the next opponent is on your left side or on the right side or behind you. So you have also to know how to attack and defend from this direction. So this is also very important in training of Jeet Kune Do, because you would use Jeet Kune Do in a street environment where you most likely would have more than one opponent. So, and what are these techniques? So just to show you in quick session what Jeet Kune Do mostly contains. So you have straight punches, you have hooks, you have back fists, and you have all finger jabs. Basically any of these techniques can be also finger jabs. So most people know the straight punches is a straight lead, and you have a left corkscrew or left straight. Then you have all kind of hooks, right hook, also left hook, and then all these angles you need for the hook. Also shovel hook or uppercut, and then you have shovel straight. So all these techniques you actually find in boxing, they're also in Jeet Kune Do. So you don't have to go like in Muay Thai to train punching there and then take punches from there, because the principles in Muay Thai, how they use their attacks are far different than in Jeet Kune Do. When it comes to kicks, then you have your straight kicks and you have your side kick. These are basically two main mechanics how you kick. You kick this way and you kick this way. So these two mechanics, the one mechanic is this one and the one mechanic is this one, and everything in between is a variation. So like Ted Wong always said, Jeet Kune Do also actually contains just two punches, the punches that extends this way and a punch that goes this way, and everything is a variation of this. So this is like straight, like a hook. Even the back fist. Back fist is a variation of the actually of the straight lead, especially the long one. Then you can also use your left leg or your rear leg. Then we also have straight kicks. Then we also have side kicks, and then we also have hook kicks. So everything what you can use with your front leg, you can use with your rear leg, but in 80% of the situations you would use your front leg because it's closer to your opponent. And how do you use this technique? So you have to apply these techniques with your footwork. This is very important. You have to know how to use your footwork to close the distance, to use the timing to attack your opponent, to attack into the attack of your opponent, or to evade an attack. If you use hands or legs, there's no difference. The difference is where you hit and what range you have. Also, one important thing, in Jeet Kune Do there are no 4 ranges, like many Jeet Kune Do schools teach 4 ranges: grappling range, trapping range, punching range, and then kicking range. And Bruce also never taught like that. This is very important. You define the ranges in Jeet Kune Do like 3 ranges: close range, middle range, and then long range. Sometimes in the middle range you can use your hands, you can use also your kicks, and also in the long range sometimes even you can use a long finger jab. Or in the close range you can kick also in the close range. Okay, you can kick to the ankle or angle off and kick to the knee. So there is no like in this range I'm using this martial art, or in this range I'm using this other martial art. So this is not how this works. You use the techniques, the tools you have your tools you can use at any angle, at any distance. You have all the tools you need, and you have just to learn how to apply them. And you apply them by the fundamental principles of Jeet Kune Do, which is simplicity, directness, and efficiency. These 3 things are the most important things in the martial art. You have to know how to apply these techniques and using these 3 principles. And so just to show you a few examples of directness, simplicity, and efficiency. Just for an example, if you have a guy standing like this, just not moving, I'm gonna show you this static so you understand what I mean. The directness means you use the technique to attack the target that is closest to your technique. This depends on the distance where you're standing. On the distance, it depends what tool you are going to use. So everybody knows the long street, which is very true, what Bruce showed there. If you're this far away from the opponent and his leg is like this, you would attack with your front leg, because this is the closest technique to the target, the nearest target to yourself. Then you can attack this with a side kick. Very easy, very quickly, and very explosive. So there's no need to go here and kick here, to go from there, or to go here and kick here. So you would maybe switch here and kick to the leg. So instead you stay here and you kick with a side kick through the target. If for some reason we have different angles to each other, we're standing like this and I'm like here, so I'm always turned with my strong side to my opponent. I could from this distance use 2 direct things. I could go with the front kick to the groin, or also here I could use the side kick. There's not always one solution to the situation. Sometimes you have more solutions to the situation. Another example, if for some reason I've moved to here and my hand is here and this hand is here, and then you have my hand here and you have his eyes, then this would be the most simple and the most direct path. I could just, when I'm moving here, I could just use my finger jab as a hook to his eyes. In this case, there's no sense using side kick to the knee because you're too close. So this is the most direct thing. Also, if you're maybe more here and your hand is here, so you can reach direct to the eyes, you can use your left hand and punch the guy here. Also in this situation, you can also use sweep because this is pretty direct. If your foot is here and he is here, you could go here and sweep the guy. It depends really on the angle, and it depends on the distance to the opponent. It depends how he is standing, also how he is moving. When he is moving, like he is moving and he is keeping the distance, and then I come back and he's following me, and then I can go forward and use the side kick. So I catch him at his step forward and side kick to the knee. If I'm a bit closer, maybe he comes forward and follows me, I can use the same thing with my hand and use the finger jab. There's not always, like I said, one solution to the problem. Sometimes there are more solutions, but they always like obey to the principles, simplicity, the directness and efficiency, because going here and kick his knee and stretch all his tendons is, for me, it's not very hard to do. It's very efficient. I didn't use a lot of energy for him, but the result is very, very big. He can't continue to walk, for example, and the fight is over. So same with the finger jab, you go to the eye, press your hand in the eyes like a spear. So this just, you see a few examples how you would apply Jeet Kune Do on the opponent. So you have to train all this on the pads, you have to train it dry, and you have to perfect your techniques so you can really apply them efficient. People for some reason tend to complexity instead to simplicity, so you have to remodulate them so they become more simple instead of too complex, especially when they come from different martial arts. Most martial arts are far too complex, or much more complex than Jeet Kune Do, and then you see now why the reason is you don't need different techniques or different martial arts to implement into Jeet Kune Do. You would most likely make it more complicated and not more simple. And also there's the thing, you have your tools and you have to train your tools. You have to learn to use the timing, you have to learn to use the distance, to control the distance, and spend a lot of time with this, especially like the techniques, long finger jab or straight lead, side kick, front kick and everything. And you have to spend so much time with this, and there's really not much time to train any different martial art or other martial art, because you would spend less time training this and not getting really good at that. Because most martial art don't have three main targets like Jeet Kune Do, which is eyes and groin and knees, and you have to train it into your muscle memory to attack these targets. And by the time you train different martial arts, they all do different things, and then it's really hard to get this really in your muscle memory. Especially you don't want to get wrong things in your muscle memory, so you want to have these three principles, you want to train by these three principles, and then you're actually good to go with Jeet Kune Do. So guys, I hope this helped, and this clarifies a bit the controversy about Bruce Lee's martial art and Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. You see many people lately making Jeet Kune Do, making fun about Jeet Kune Do. Actually, they say Jeet Kune Do is not effective, it's not really good martial arts, and the reason is because there are so many schools. They say they teach Jeet Kune Do, but they teach something totally different that actually goes against the principles of Jeet Kune Do. So guys, I hope this helped, and see you next time.